Thank you all for the feedback on the sound. It looks like most everybody's good, and I haven't had anybody respond about life skills programming, so it sounds like our presenters are going to be teaching us all about it today. So we're going to learn from the ground up about life skills programming, and I know they've got some great ideas, so you all are in for a treat. I want to just make sure before we get started that Kathy Hall, we got two Kathys in today, that Kathy Hall can hear. Let me just chat a message to her, and then we'll get started. Okay, great. And it looks like we got a couple people answering. Okay, mobile coupons, those are amazing. I use those myself. Computer skills classes, very important. Cooking demonstrations, everybody needs to know how to cook. Crafting is great. We're going to get into some of those today. So great. And please feel free to go ahead and chat in any other programming you're doing. I'm going to go ahead and get started with some housekeeping for today's webinar. First, I want to welcome everybody to today's webinar. This is Live, Love, and Life Skills. I'm going to just take care of some housekeeping things, and then I turn it over to our presenters in just a moment. If you have any questions for our presenters during today's webinar, please feel free to use the chat pod. It will be in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen where it is right now. If you have any technical issues, you can chat those in as well, and I'll do my best to help you out. At the end of today's webinar, you'll have an opportunity again to download the PDF, the full PDF of the slides. If you decide you'd like to have that at the end of the webinar, you can do that. And for those of you who are attending this webinar live, you will be receiving a certificate of attendance in an email from me, hopefully by the end of the week. And just a reminder also that this webinar is being recorded, and it will be posted on our archived webinars page, hopefully again by the end of the week. And you can definitely feel free to come back and review any of the information or share it with your coworkers, anything you'd like to do with that. And I do want to encourage you to check out our archived webinars page, just as a little reminder. If you are already a certified public librarian, you can use those archived webinars for certification renewal. So just a little reminder there. I'm going to move us into our presentation screen. And I'd like to say a special welcome to our two presenters for today. If you've never heard these ladies present, you are in for a treat. They are so much fun. They love their jobs. There's so much, they just bring a lot of energy, particularly to a webinar environment. So you're in for a treat. From the Perry County Public Library, we have Amy Eversole. She's their Adult Services Librarian. And we have Jessica Chandler, the Children's Youth Services Librarian. So ladies, I'm going to mute my phone and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Charlie. Hi, everybody. My name is Jessica Chandler, and like Charlie said, I am the Youth Services Librarian. And I am Amy Eversole, the Adult Services Librarian. So is everybody good? Everybody can hear us well? We will get started. You might have a question of like, what are life skills? And a life skill is a necessary or desirable for full participation in everyday life. In other words, this is what you need to be able to cope with certain things in life. Like sharing with a sibling can help children learn an important life skill by sharing. Ways your library showcases life skills. You can do this by crafting, cooking, gardening, couponing, makerspaces, sewing, budgeting, etc. There is so many different ways that you can help with life skills. And life skills, it works. During our years as programmers, we surveyed the needs of our county, and we discovered that we had a lot of patrons that were asking for various types of life skill programs. To help fulfill the needs that were not being met, we kind of implemented just these new reoccurring programs to help fill in those spaces. A lot of them were things that we took for granted, things like budgeting, basic kitchen skills or terminology, household safety, cooking, couponing, gardening, do-it-yourself projects were just some of the programs that we've concentrated on. And we were surprised. I think it's because Amy and I both were raised in households that everybody cooked, everybody kind of worked on their own, like, cars or their own house stuff. So I think we really kind of took for granted that not all of these skills are being taught today.
Programming 101. What service do you wish to offer? How many people do you plan to reach? You have to know how many you want to reach, so it helps with your budget. Are you planning small or are you planning big? What supplies are needed for the program? You have to know this because it takes longer to get things from different sources if you're having to do online versus go to the store and purchase your supplies. How much space do you need for the activity? Me and Jessica learned this is crucial. You always have to, kind of plan out, map out how much space that you need. Do you need to outsource the space for your activity? Maybe you're in a smaller library and you don't have very much room as a craft room or a meeting room space. You might want to consider a different venue. Will you need to hire someone to do the program if you do not have the skills required? For about a year, I had to have someone come in and help do the craft skills because I didn't get that gene from my dad where he can look at everything and just know what to do and how to do it. I did not get that. So I had a friend who speaks craft and speaks it well, and she came in and did some of the programs till I could actually begin to learn by going along with her and doing it. So now I do it. Well, you need additional staff to implement the program. That's important. Don't be afraid if you need help. If it's too daunting, ask for a little. You might need some extra help. How long does it take to do the project?
Oh, that's a good one to know.
If it's possible, you should always do a dry run before because different people work at different paces. What might take you 5 minutes may take somebody else 20.
We were doing a 12 Days of Christmas last year, and our craft person had a family emergency, and so I helped Amy do some of the classes. And one of the classes was you take a cinnamon stick and you tie fabric at different ends, and you put a star at the top and make like a little Christmas tree. I was like, this is easy. Like, my kid can do this. Those are famous last words because it took us an hour with adults to tie a tie onto a cinnamon stick, people.
And lastly, how much time do you need for prep and cleanup? You can't underestimate that too. So that way you leave your space as you found it.
Programming for life skills. This is just the different things to try to keep in mind. Guys, we are public librarians. We work with all kinds of community people. And one of the worst things you can do is to tread on the toes of a community service that you might need later. So here are some things to think of. Is it being hosted by another organization? Is it economical for your budget and for the patron's budget at home? It's all well and good if you want to do this big fancy craft or project at your library, but if it costs you $50, they probably won't do that at home because it just costs too much. Same way with the difficulty level. If you're going to go in there being Martha Stewart, you may not have a Martha Stewart in your class. You may have someone that's just starting out that just needs to know how to do the basics.
You have an Amy in your class, in other words.
Amy is learning well. She is. The next one is the best time of day to receive patronage. We have found we get much more patronage in the evening. This is with our book clubs and everything, mostly because about everybody works. So trying to do everything after 4 o'clock, that way kids are out of school, people have had the time to get a bite to eat. They may have, kids that are in practice that they need to pick up. You gotta be aware of what your patrons' needs are. Another thing is, does it require unusual equipment? Not everybody has a stand mixer at home. Not everybody has a Dremel tool or a jigsaw. You gotta keep that in mind when you're planning things. And when you develop a budget, not all libraries have a really big budget to work with. So this is a really good time to get with your community partners, people like your 4-H department, your health department, your county extension services. I actually used to work for the county extension services with 4-H, and I would come into this library and I would do budgeting classes and couponing classes with Amy. Your Family Resource Youth Service Center. That's your frisky people. They're in about every school. You would be surprised the partnerships that you can have with them. Same thing with Save the Children. We have Save the Children in our area, and they are fabulous people to work with.
They're fantastic.
They really are. They set up, we did a trunk or treat a couple of weeks ago, and they set up and they gave out 600 books to the kids that were in attendance for our trunk or treat. Another thing is your local tourism office, your local government. I've been there with our county judge executive. I've done programs with him. Local businesses. I've had our local restaurants, our local grocery stores. They've come in and did stuff with us, along with other nonprofit clubs like the Lions Club, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Kiwanis, the different lodges like the Eastern Stars and everything. These people are wonderful to work with, and you would be surprised at how fast and readily they are to work with you, because not only does it look good for them, it looks good with you guys too, because you're doing this partnership in the community.
How to publicize your program. In-house advertisements in forms of newsletters, display receipt reminders, email, and pamphlets. In-house also encompasses the bookmobile. Your bookmobile or outreach librarians are a voice in the community. Use them.
Send them flyers.
We really depend on our bookmobile driver. He really promotes our programs, and he does such a good job. We love Terry.
Everybody needs a Terry. If you've not had a chance to meet Terry Dales at the Perry County Public Library, you need to come by and meet Terry. He's absolutely fabulous. He helps us out quite a bit. Social media, we've got a great media specialist. We've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest. Create an event reminder to alert people for the upcoming programs on things like Facebook.
And then you could do public broadcast, newspapers, radio, PSA channels, the tourism calendar, and word of mouth. Any free resource is a good resource. Sometimes you may print flyers and physically hand them out or pass them to the local schools to send home with their newsletters. The point is you can never advertise enough.
Always advertise. Even if you think, well, I've hosted this program every year for the last 15 years, it's standalone. No. Because you never know who may be presenting a program at the same time. And they may not have known about your program. But you can never advertise enough. Monthly reoccurring programs.
Cooking, cleaning, crafting, and confusion. These are the days of our library. Some of us are better at some things than others. Your sister may be a Martha Stewart in training, while you may be a Stewart from Mad TV. I'm Stewart from Mad TV.
Now, I never see her go, look what I can do. I'm telling you, if you've never seen Stewart, it's quite hilarious. And occasionally, we just all need help. This is where your monthly reoccurring programs come in. We offer both youth and adult reoccurring programs that center around crafting, cooking, and life skills each month. And sometimes they vary. We really get a good turnout for these programs because we have just advertised and advertised and advertised. And you, like I said earlier, never take for granted that people know how to cook and clean. Always avoid saying, there is no way you can mess this up. Trust me, they will find a way. We had this happen with a do-it-yourself no-sew blanket class. Sheila, our tech services, was teaching this class, and she was telling him to trim about 1/4 of an inch off of the fleece blanket. She just got through saying, you can't mess this up. And lo and behold, somebody messed it up.
Famous last words.
Explain yourself thoroughly. And always have everybody, and this is just a good practice at home, in the library, anywhere. Read your directions first. You would think that would be like just a common sense type of thing. No. Even on people that are veterans of this type of stuff. Read your directions first.
I think they get excited and,
Yeah.
then they jump right in it.
I do that too, a lot. The Swedish chefs at work. If your library is willing, you can get certified in food safety and preparation. You can ask your local health department, schools, or restaurants where they receive their licenses, or you can Google Kentucky Food Handler's License, and above is the link that we found via google.com. As of now, we've not purchased a food license. The way that we do our cooking classes, they're a demo. We buy the ingredients for our pre-registered patrons. Always pre-register for a cooking class. You need to know how much to buy, because we accidentally forgot to pre-register, and we wound up with 40 people one summer. So you really want to pre-register your patrons. Amy and I make a separate batch of food in the front. We're like looking at our patrons, and they're looking at us, and they have the same amount of ingredients in front of them. We put them in groups together. The first thing they do is they wash their hands, and they read the directions, and they follow along as we are making our own recipe. We do not touch their food. We do not cut their food. We do not open their food. We do not prep, fry, bake, or cook anything for them. They are actually making the recipes themselves, and it's up to them if they want to eat the food. They can do it just as a demo, or if they want to sit down and eat the food, we always have plates and forks and napkins and drinks for them. Does anybody have any questions? We'll keep on trucking, guys.
There's no crying in craft class.
Oh, but there is.
Pinterest is filled with craft wins and craft fails. You have to beware of the Pinterest. Sometimes it looks easy, and it's not so easy. It's hidden.
You need to look up Pinterest fails, because that is, if you're having a down day, you need to look that up, because it'll keep you entertained for quite a while.
Knowing your limits is a strength. If you know that you're not particularly good at bow making, you may not be the one that wants to teach doing a bow class, how to tie a bow class.
Let me tell you, I'm pretty crafty. Amy will tell you, I did take after my daddy on that. He could look at something and then build it just by looking at it, and I'm pretty good with crafts, and I could make you just about any type of wreath or anything you want to make, but oh, I cannot make a bow to save my life, even with a Bowdabra. I cannot make a bow. It is so bad.
Always make a demo craft ahead of time. This allows you to see any problems, time constraints, and the amount of supplies that it takes to make the project. Your demo is very, very important. You may have this idea in your head for this wonderful craft, and you get to doing your demo, and you're like, well, this material is not going to work. You have, that way, if you do it early, you have time to correct that and get something that will make it work. If you can use staff, use them. If you're not a crafty person and none of your staff are either, then you can look into hiring an outside person. If you are really lucky, you can find a volunteer or a program participant willing to donate time to your cause.
You'll be surprised how many people just want to get out there and be able to teach something. They just want to get that out there, or they want to get out and be like, hey, I make this stuff on the side at home, so, we're showing you how to make this, but you can buy these from me.
And sometimes your participants in your class have some of the best ideas. They can really give you really good tips for future programs. And crafting falls into budgeting and business opportunities. We have had many patrons learn various crafting techniques and use these same skills to turn a profit at local craft shows and online craft shops.
Yeah, Amy does a holiday bazaar every year, and it's got like different types of ornaments. They've got decorating items, and we've noticed over the years that more and more people have learned to make a base craft or do a base cooking in our classes, and they have took it a step farther, and they have brought it in and actually have made a profit from what they have learned here at the library. It also helps that none of us ever charge for a booth here, so they love our library. From monthly to annually, this is our big how-to festival of the year. And this is just a really big conglomeration of life skills programs at their best. Imagine the How-To Festival as a place of learning. Different classes being taught, several types of programs throughout the library. It's like breakout sessions when we go to conferences. You've got 7 or 8 rooms teaching 7 or 8 different things. We've had beekeeping,
makeup contouring,
wreath making,
no-sew tutus,
turkey calling, which was actually a lot of fun,
and the DIY fondant classes.
That was pretty fabulous. We know some people, and they came in and they taught the kids to use marshmallow fondant. They showed them how to make the fondant. Then how to make a whole can that looks like it's punching through a cake. It was the coolest thing.
It was really neat. And then green cleaning household items, like your own laundry detergent liquid or the pods, which we found out you could make via Pinterest.
Yeah, we did. The laundry pods actually were great smelling. They really were. And we used them. I actually donated a few that I had made to our local schools, and they were very appreciative of that they could use in their kitchen. And just different, like, household cleaners, tips and tricks, because we know a lot of people, actually like the girls that do the fondant classes, they're highly allergic to a lot of household cleaners, so they have to do a lot of green cleaning. So we've actually learned how to make a few things from the different participants that have come to our classes. So we're a firm believer that sharing is caring. Now, how to establish your own how-to festival.
Access the skills of your staff and the space that you have at your library. You need to be familiar with your floor plan and see how much usable and workable space that you have. Hidden talents can be an asset to you and your How-To Festival. If you know anyone looking for volunteer hours, this is the time to recruit.
Get out there and be like, I know you know how to make this origami. You're going to come here and you're going to make that little Flappy Bird for us.
Guilt your family if you have to.
Oh, it's fabulous. Take advantage of the people that you know. I mean, like I said, you'd be surprised at the amount of people that just want the experience of getting up and how to demo something. It's something that they may not ever get the chance to do, and they really like to help you out if you are one of those people in the community that is in the community. We're out there all the time, so we're always like, I don't want to say hitting them up, but we're like, hey, what are you doing? Are you free this day? And they do the same to us. We're always getting called into the schools. We're always getting called with different programs to the community. And we are more than glad to share any skills that we've got with them. And once you have a plan of how many breakout sessions you can showcase, then you can, try filling them in. The best thing I would think to do is put your tables out and see how many tables or spaces that you can have in the library, and then fill them in from there.
Delusions of Grandeur. Remember, you are only one programmer, maybe two if you have an assistant or a fellow programmer. Me and Jessica, we always think big, we dream big, and sometimes we plan big, and then we look and we're like, oh my goodness, have we bit off more than we can chew? So it's really important just to trying to keep it in perspective. Remember that you're only one person or maybe two. Always keep that in mind.
This happened this month, actually. On October 21st, I decided we're going to have our very first trunk or treat ever at the Perry County Public Library. And I put this with my budget, and I was like, this is going to be great. So we started advertising October 1st, and within 3 days on Facebook, we had how many shares?
It was like 170, almost 200 shares.
We did about 600 and some bags. Between parents, grandparents, and children, we had 1,010 people with 7 vendors. We gave out candy for an hour and 45 minutes, hard and fast. It was a great program. Everybody loved it. It was really organized. We about died. Just putting the bags together before the actual program. If any of you guys are programmers, have you ever looked at a program that's up and coming and go, you know, I already feel tired from this program, and it hasn't happened yet? And that's what happened there. But yeah, we had 1,010 people in an hour and 45 minutes.
Sometimes starting out small and running smoothly is a greater success than having something huge that is just okay.
People are going to remember if they had a really great time or if it was just kind of, they're like, it was okay. I don't know if I'll go back. The main thing is if you can get it just running smoothly, always try to be prepared, because I know when I've gone to conventions or I've gone to different events, I can tell the quality of it by how prepared and smoothly run that it is. You want to make sure that everything is kind of streamlined, that you have enough help, that everything is clearly marked. Whenever we do this, planning is the key foundation. And once you have the placement and the sessions filled, make an itinerary listing the places and the times of each classes. You need to take into account, well, if I'm going to be doing this for 4 hours, well, I have to cover breaks. Well, I have to cover lunches. While this program is down, will I have anybody to fill in for it? Or do I need to shut this whole program down and offer them an alternative session? And itineraries are a great way to go. It's got a professional feel to it. It lets people know that if they're not part of your library's regular patronage, they'll know where things are at. We have our HR person send a floor plan schematic to us, and we just go into Google and place things where they're going to be, and it's the fire and safety exit floor plan that we have up all over the building.
Just want to say, Charlie, it was incredible, 1,010 people on that Saturday. But the thing about it, even though we had so many, it ran really smoothly. They got in the nice little neat single file line, and there was very few crying.
I think we had 3.
So
maybe
yeah,
3.
So everybody was just real patient, and we didn't start till 6, and they were lining up at 5 o'clock, and it was crazy, but it went really smooth.
That's another thing, too. If you have a program and it doesn't start to a specified time, never start until that time, because that's the time you have advertised for. And you can go around. That's what I did. We had everything prepped and set up, but I went around and told everybody, hey, everything starts at 6. We have the foyer open so you can go to the bathroom. We've got our water fountains there. If anybody wants pictures taken, here's our media person. And just little things like that, just letting them know what's going on is a big thing for them, because that way it kind of helps stem the frustration when you've got a bunch of people in a line, even though they know it doesn't start till 6. They get that group mentality. They get out there and you hear that rabble, rabble, rabble. Rabble, rabble, rabble. But we also went around and telling them, be sure to take account of what's your favorite, because we vote on a favorite, and everybody will get trophies, and let's just hope everybody has a great time. Now, examples of a life skill for your how-to festival, we told the different programs that we've had. These are some of the ones that we've done this year. This is actually some examples of the stuff that I have made that I learned how to make here at the library. Wreath making is huge in our area. I mean, southeastern Kentucky, we have a wreath for everything, every season, every holiday, every ball team. We have got one of those big deco meth wreaths on our door. And that wreath right there, it was a Halloween wreath. It was candy corn themed. And it took about $35 to make. And I got the design, actually. I looked at it on Etsy, and it was selling for $89. I bought enough to make 2 for $90 because I was making them for my child's teachers for school. because they asked me, I made them one last year, and they asked me if I'd make them again this year. So I managed to make 2 of them for the price that one cost on Etsy. Same way with the no-sew tutus. The no-sew tutus can easily be turned into costumes for Halloween. And the tutu dress that's shown, the Cookie Monster, I think I ordered all of the tulle off of papermart.com. I spent $15. When you go online, they're anywhere between $35 to $55. And we taught them how to make that this past year in our how-to festival. And I do have to say, I got to teach it, and I was a bit of a belle of the ball. I bet I had 90 people come up and make stuff. And not all life skills have a monetary aspect. This year, we offered hunting tips, makeup tutorials, and henna art. Amy can actually tell you about the makeup tips.
I never dreamt that there was so much that went into contouring, and I was kind of the model they used for contouring, and it was really neat, and I just don't know that I would want to dedicate getting up that early in the morning to do that every day, but the young lady that did it, she did a very good job. And it was just neat because, you know, contouring and makeup is like the rage nowadays. And we had some young girls that was in there, and they really seemed to enjoy that and the henna, the paint. So those were good. We had good crowds at those all day. And then we also did body scrubs, like a hand and body scrub. And those went really super. It went over really well. We made, was it pina colada?
Yeah.
Was the kind that we made, a pina colada non-alcoholic body scrub.
You can buy these scented oils. We got ours on Amazon, and you can type in, they actually had the scents left over. I do bath bombs with my teenagers, and they absolutely love it. So you can find the scented oils online. They're like $2 for an ounce. And it only takes a few drops from each one. And they have got every scent you can think of. Honeysuckle was great. Do not put it directly onto your skin. You will give yourself a headache. It's super strong because it is a concentrated oil. I smelled like honeysuckle all day. It was a little much. And feedback. We love feedback. We love to just hear the opinions of people. We really like to get ideas from people because, you know, it's your community that's coming to your library. So you want to know what the community wants.
Not only does the community benefit from the How-To Festival, your library also benefits from it as well. This is a wonderful time to do a survey assessing your community's needs. Take this opportunity to purchase and or ask the community for a door prize. And everyone loves winning things. This would enable you to use the surveys as a raffle ticket for the prize. You fill out a survey and you're entered in to maybe win a Kindle. And the public loves that.
We do, and we get a lot of those. I don't know if your tech services do this, but whenever they're ordering from the different book vendors, we get like the iPads and we get the Kindles for free, and it says what company they come from, whether it's Appleseed or anywhere. But we also get, it can be just something simple, like let's say a donated meal or even a cake that somebody has made to bring in. We also have had movie tickets. Those go over really well. And it doesn't have to be expensive. It's just the thought of getting to take something home. Or even if they came in with your library incentives. People, they love one of those recycle library bags. They love the browsing bags. And when I go out to different community events, that's the one thing that I do take is those browsing bags because they know they got it from the library. It doesn't even have to have our logo on it. It just has to, it could just say something about reading. And I've got one that says, like, what does the fox read? And then, you know, this is my stash of books, and it's got like a little mustache on it. And we get a lot of those from Dimco. And they know that comes from the Perry County Public Library because we're at all of these things. And they come in all the time with those. they really like stuff like that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be expensive. They just like the idea that they've won something, and it's just a friendly a little friendly competition. And it's they really enjoy a raffle. It don't have to. It could be a book. It could be. Sometimes for winter reading, I do a blizzard full of books, and we do a different book each week during the winter months. We do, and they have to complete a little form saying what all they've read, and they like participating and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be super expensive. You find something that works with your budget.
Oh, and I know earlier we were talking about the different community people that you can involve in your stuff, and I forgot about this one, but if you have a vocational college where you work at, they a lot of them have to get so many hours in with their subject. You could get the people that work on the cars to come by, show them how to change a tire, show them how to check your oil. The girls from the cosmetology school come in and show them different braids and stuff. We've actually been talking about doing a program for dads on how to braid daughters' hairs, because we have a lot of single fathers in the area, and they've got little girls. And I remember when my cousin had his stepdaughter, and her mom would leave early for work, and we'd have to go over every morning and help fix her hair because he had no clue. So it's different little stuff like that to look for in your community that would be a great thing to offer. And I would really like to have some questions if you guys have anything. We like the questions. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. I know you've got something in the back of your mind you're either wanting to share or ask.
Amy and Jessica, this is Charlie. I have one.
Yes.
I find it hard to believe that this could happen, but is there any of these kinds of programs that haven't gone over very well, and why do you think maybe they didn't go over very well?
I'm thinking it's mostly the ones with the men, I'm sad to say. We find it a little bit harder to draw the men patronage into the library, even with offering the hunting tips and the turkey calling and stuff.
Or even beekeeping. They do bee school in January at the college, and they do a good turnout. We have it here, and we have very few. We don't. So that's kind of a demographic sometimes we struggle with. But if any of y'all have any tips, we would love to have them. How do you get your that demographic, that how do you get men into the library, or boys?
Yeah, just trying to get them in, especially with things like the cooking classes or even the crafting classes is just kind of hard. And Susan, we had at the last, how many did we have, Amy? How many programs did we have? We had 1, 2, 6 or 7. We had the facial scrub one.
Yeah.
We had the tutus.
You had the henna.
We had the henna art. We had the makeup contouring. We had the hunting kit.
And then you had how to do a live feed.
And how to do a live feed. We did do a media one. So we had 6 at this past one. We have never sponsored a job fair here, but we have had job fairs sponsored in the community. We have a job site center that's combined with workforce and everything.
But we partnered with is it EKSEP or KSEP? Yeah. And they've actually come and did they used the meeting room space for trying to help people with their resume tips, trying to help them gain employment. So we have done a little bit of that.
We haven't done a ton with it because where we already have a community organization that offers it. When they do have stuff here, though, we've had different community vendors have their events here at our library, and we've actually participated with them. So we call it our in-house outreach. So we go out there and we talk about the different ways that you can use our things like our Overdrive, our different databases, our what's that one, I mean, where you can, the universal classes.
Yeah, universal class.
And have you guys, has anybody that's on the list today. Have you ever sponsored a job fair? And if you would be kind enough to send us how you set it up and everything, I think we'd be really interested in seeing how that was done.
I just want to put a plug in here at KDLA. We have plans to do a webinar next year, a library link-up style webinar next year about job fairs.
Oh.
So, yeah, I can't remember which month it is, but it's going to be next year sometime. So,
see, I think that would be wonderful because I know our circulation desk, and I have too. We've had a lot of patrons come in, and we've helped them print out their resumes, how to update their resumes, how to do their resumes, upload it online in our computer labs. So they're doing it. It's just we're not hosting a main thing. Oh, I really like that, Lacey.
Mhm.
That's wonderful. So your teen librarian did a college and career fair partnering with the local school district.
We've talked about that, but we haven't done it yet. But yeah,
that sounds
really good.
I thought that's wonderful because I know we had partnered with Save the Children, and we did a kindergarten readiness class for our kids over the summer, and they met in June and July once a week, and they did like ABCs and basic reading, and they did their numbers and occupational therapy with writings and stuff. And I was talking about I'd really like to host a life skills class for our teenagers, how to fill out their financial aid for college, how to open a bank account, where to go if you've got an apartment, how to turn on your water and power, where to go pay those at. There are so many that they don't even know how to write a check out properly.
I used to work at a bank, and we got that a lot. You had a lot of young people that didn't know how to make a check, and they don't really do cursive anymore in school, so they couldn't even sign their name. They would just print it. So, yeah, that's the banks and stuff like that. It's amazing. Things that we take for granted that, a lot of young people don't know.
So, Lacey, when you did the Money Basics class, did you have that at the library, or did you go showcase that somewhere else? So at the library, as I say, I know when I worked at the extension office, I did a Money Basics class too through the 4-H program, and I actually went into the high schools and met with their SCS agents, with their family consumer science, and I had really good classes. That my favorite, and this is a good thing to do at your library too, if you want to talk about basic spending, wants versus needs. It really goes over well if you're doing like one of those rent-to-own, kind of like, or even when they talk you into doing like Dell computers. Well, you can pay $25 a month. They don't tell you that there's like 35, if you're paying 25, like it's all interest. Another thing is spending leaks. I would get them to write out how much they would spend for a bottle of water each day at school, or I would have the girls be like, how much do you pay to keep your manicure up? For the boys, I'm like, well, think about how much you pay out in gas when, you're just cruising around with the guys and playing. And they were amazed at how much money that they were spending that they could be keeping. See, like Elizabeth said, you're shocked at how much businesses jump in to volunteer to do stuff. But like we've said, this is a really big deal, especially from your smaller community, because what do we say about advertising? You can never advertise enough. So anytime that they can get out there and they can do something and they can print their name up on it and have it out in the community. Right now we have a Cash Express cup right in front of us because they go out and they bring these cups everywhere. And we're like, hey, we've got a Cash Express cup. I see a WYMT, our local television station card, in front of us too. So you have all these businesses out there, and it's a shame not to partner with them.
For trunk or treat, we actually had a couple of vendors that contacted us and say, hey, we heard you're having a trunk or treat. Can we participate? And we were like, absolutely.
We're like, is it too late? And it was like the day before. I'm like, it wouldn't be too late if you were here without even telling me. just show up, set up, decorate. They really went all out for us, I have to say, this year. They've done really well. We do have some programs that just do not get off. It depends on the month and the stuff that's going on. Like, in January and February, it's colder. You're just not going to have as much. Especially, I'm over the kids, so I know at certain times of year, I'm not going to get as much as I would, let's say, during the summer months. Because you're going to have 1,010 kids in your library during the summer because they've got nothing else to do. Whereas if I'm hosting a program on Wednesday evening, they may have practice, they may have church, they may have an after-school job now. So that was another thing, is just being aware when the best time is to get your patrons in here. Oh, see, crocheting during the winter months. That is a fantastic thing to do. That's like we do our winter reading. Amy does her blizzard of books. I'm snowboard. And what I do is however much that they read, this year I'm doing a bingo card style, they fill out their card, they bring it in, and they get put in for a raffle to win board games. And you would be surprised, and I do this from ages 5 to 18, for the ages that read, you would be absolutely surprised at how many kids want to win a Monopoly set, or Clue, or Jenga, something that's just not electronic. And they absolutely love it. Especially here, we get a lot of snow in southeastern Kentucky, and we miss a lot of school. Now, this past year, we didn't have any, but everybody was out with the flu and with strep at the same time, Amy and I included. We got, about everybody in our library got flu and strep in the same week. And what were we doing at the house? We had our books, and we had our Kindles, and we had our Nooks, and we were on our overdrive, filling out our forms for everything.
The no-sew fleece classes, they do pretty good too. And then there's times like I know like at Joann's Fabric, you can get those kits for 50% off. I usually kind of stalk their website. And when I move in for the kill, whenever I see that it's 50% off, those are really popular, and they have different sizes and stuff too. And we did do crochet, or I think we did knitting a few years ago, and I think we so, but I think it was during the winter months. And like she said, you can't ever tell with the weather and everything. So that might be something we might actually revisit too.
Kathy, I love that your ladies came up with the idea to crochet scarves for the homeless shelter. I know that our extension office, all the homemakers in the county, we've got a pretty extensive homemakers club. There's about 80 little old ladies. They come in on their own free time, and they knit scarves and bonnets and booties for the cancer center and for newborn babies at our hospital. So I love the fact that you're teaching this class, and you have your patrons that are giving back to the community, because I just think that's just fabulous. And really that's what the library is about, is giving back to the community. And I love that they're sharing like that. It's just wonderful. Oh, I like that. I didn't know that they did that through Michael's Crafts. See, unfortunately, we are in a county that does not have a crafting store. We have to order about everything unless we want to drive for about an hour and go pick things up from the Hobby Lobby, which we've done reluctantly. But we did it. For the good of the patrons, we did it.
It's like Conan. That's another story.
Yeah, that was another story. Now, Kathy, I did it was the hoop weaving with the kids, and they really liked that. I got a bunch of the kits from Walmart with the little loom knitting. That's what it is, loom knitting. And we did that, and I was not really sure on how to do it, and we learned together. We actually got in there, and we're lucky enough that we've got a nice drop-down screen and the overhead projector. So what I did is I took our laptop in, plugged it up, and we YouTubed it, and we sat there for an hour and a half with YouTube. Stop, start, stop, start. Go back. How do I take this apart? I've messed up. I've missed a stitch. So, like we said, even if you don't know how to do it yourself, there are ways around that.
Cross stitch. That's when we did that one year for the how-to, and it went over really well. I'm going to tell on one of our workers here. She got interested in doing cross stitch, and she did a Silence of the Lambs cross stitch, and it was the
big moth. Man, it was awesome.
Yeah. And it looks really neat. So yeah, we kind of even generated some interest in our employees, our staff, with cross stitch.
We were quite happy with that. We actually had a lot of teams that came by and did that, and they loved it. And if you get on Pinterest, because we live and breathe and die by Pinterest in this library, you can go on there and type in nerdy cross stitch, and it's fantastic. You find all kinds of fun stuff. And I have found out, I was like, I mark it as not your grandma's cross stitch. And we've done everything from Star Wars to Big Bang Theory to the horror movies. And anything that you can cross stitch, you can also perler bead. And if you guys have never used perler beads, we actually taught how to do that here at the library. They're these little melty beads that you put on this little platform that's got like little pegs, and you take an iron and wax paper and you melt them. Well, not only did the parents learn how to do this, because I always have a lot of parents that come in with the kids, they were selling them at our comic Palooza that we had. So and it went over so well. You can make magnets out of them. You can make ornaments out of them. You can make jewelry out of them. They loved it. And that was another way that our kind of like a little craft life skill turned into a business opportunity for the parents and the kids. I mean, the kids were even working on this, and they did an excellent job. You would be surprised how elaborate some of those are.
Elizabeth, we have done adult coloring too. We usually do that like during the winter months, and it is, something that has really caught on here too, and we like doing that.
What was yours titled? Coloring in Cocoa?
Yeah, I would buy hot chocolate, and they could drink some hot chocolate while they sat there and, and colored, and it was just nice little, serene, just calm and relaxing, just to drink cocoa and color.
My cousin, who was a big old ex-Army vet, big old beard, 6 foot tall, came in with his girlfriend. Next thing I know, he's sitting with her coloring a chameleon in the colors in cocoa, and he's just over there doodling away. He's like, I like this. I'm going to come back.
Oh, that's cool. They have murals that they work on. Yeah.
I love that, Elizabeth. Will you please, our email addresses are up there. If there's any way that you can take pictures of the murals that you have up, we'd really like to see that. Thank you so much. That is so sweet of you, because that's just something that's so cool. We love that. I was an art class baby in high school, so anything that's kind of artsy in there, I love to do. I just think it's so much fun, and it can be so frustrating but so relaxing at the same time.
I like to look. I'm not much of a drawer. My stick man needs a little work. I never made it past that when it comes to drawing. But I love to watch other people do it and see the finished product.
I have loved all these things that you guys are doing at your libraries, because this is something that we can take away to do at our library. And I just love all the donations and everything that everybody's been doing. I just think that's fabulous.
That is so cool.
Now, what exactly is a temperature blanket? Oh, I like that. Multiple attendees are typing. All kinds of explanations going on. Puzzles are always good, Kathy. I grew up with my grandma living right below me, and we were puzzle people. I think that's one of the reasons why I love card games and board games so much. And I do that a lot. We do that a lot with our kids. Like we have a seasonal board game night, which is, kind of another life skill because they're learning to share. They're learning to figure out problem-solving skills. They're learning to count on a lot of them. So you'd be surprised where life skills comes in to play in different little areas.
Or even really socialize, because
Yeah.
that's something that's missing kind of from our young kids today.
Yeah, that was something that we were really surprised about, is how well, like, our board game stuff and just our stuff over the summer is teaching the life skills of socializing. Everybody is so engrossed, and we see this every day, and I'm sure you do too. You'll look out, whether you're from the circulation desk or if you have an office, and you'll see people, and nobody will be talking to each other, and they'll just be looking down at their phones. So I think just being able to bring them into the library and have them socialize, that's a lot of times our cooking classes and crochet and our crafting classes go on so long is because all the people that are in there are socializing.
They love to see each other, and they ask about them if they're not here. Do you know why so-and-so's not here? So it's almost like it's a secondary family to them.
They really have developed a really good bond to the point that if somebody is sick in the family, like we'll do prayer chains or we'll get a get well card, and they'll be like, well, when you see this person or whoever knows them, we're like, we'll do a gift get well card for them. I really want to get some puzzles now, Kathy. I mean, it's like I keep looking at that. It's like, man, I want to do a puzzle now. Ooh, temperature Afghan.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate that.
Does anybody else have any other questions or comments?
Because we've got about 3 minutes left.
Oh, you're welcome. It's our pleasure. Thank you.
You guys, we really love just all of the responses that you guys have put down. And like I said, it's just fabulous to see what everybody is doing at their libraries and just all the great work that everyone's doing.
Ladies, I'm going to go ahead and move over to our final screen and do our just sort of wrap-up informational portion. Y'all can continue typing in any questions or comments that you have for Jessica and Amy as I go through these slides. This webinar and all the webinars we do here at KDLA are made possible in part by the Institute of Museum and Library Services. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We're out there on Twitter and Facebook. Our Facebook focuses just on CE stuff. So if you're interested in getting more information on that, you want to follow us there. And I wanted to highlight a few webinars that we have coming up here in the next couple weeks. Got a genealogy programming library link up tomorrow. You can look at the online GED next week. We'll have more federal government websites to talk about next week as well. And then we're going to be doing a two-part legal reference webinar series with the state law librarian, Jennifer Frazier. And then we'll have a sort of basics of customer service mid-November. So you can register for all those on our continuing education calendar. That's about all I have. I have some links here at the end for you to our calendar where you can go register for those webinars. You can see all the free services that we provide to libraries here at KDLA. And if you have any certification questions, need a link to that, we have a link there as well. And if you would like to get a copy of the slides for today's program, you can download those in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Additionally, the live attendees will be getting a certificate of attendance and a survey link from me here in the next day or so. And remember that we did record this webinar today, so you'll be able to come back and watch it or, recommend it to your coworkers if you'd like to share it with them, think they'd enjoy it. Definitely want to thank you, Jessica and Amy, for being with us today. This was a great discussion. The presentation was great, and then the discussion was great as well, so very valuable. Thank you all so much for being with us today.
Charlie, we just appreciate that you asked us to do this because we really like talking about it. We enjoy our jobs, and we really love the socializing aspect with all of our patrons. And it's so great to be able to talk to other librarians and programmers across the board in Kentucky. It's just fabulous idea sharing.
Yes, absolutely. That's what we love about these sessions. So y'all did a great job, and I want to thank everybody for attending today. If you have any more questions or want to chat with Jessica and Amy, we've got their email addresses there on the screen, and I believe the phone numbers were on a previous slide, so you can go back and get those if you'd like. But whenever y'all are ready to exit, just click the X in the top right-hand corner of the screen, and Kathy, I will be sending out a link in the follow-up email to the archived webinars page where this webinar will live once it's published. So looks like everybody's good to go. So thank you again, ladies. You guys have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.